My name is Elena Gandolfo, and welcome to my social justice project. My moral question is the reasoning and power of religion taking over in our current government when concerning abortion laws and reproductive rights of women in the United States of America? My contemporary social issue looks into how abortion restrictions have been made in the United States government. I will be presenting a court case that explains how abortion is legal but how state governments have restricted abortion. I would then present my point of view and express my overall opinion, supported by some statistics, but follow up with opposing viewpoints. I will end my persuasive speech with my rebuttals in hopes for the future regarding the progression of abortion. Let's first look at the foundation of all controversy surrounding abortion, the Roe v. Wade case. In 1969, Norma McCorvey became pregnant after not wishing to become. She went to the closest location in her state of Texas in hopes to get an abortion, but the only way to receive one is after rape, incest, or the mother's health is threatened by the conception. After being forced to have the child, the battle for women's freedom of choice to do what they want to do with their bodies did not stop there. The Roe v. Wade case began. Roe, actually Norma McCorvey, argued that abortion should be guaranteed right under the Constitution by referring to multiple amendments, such as the first, which said abortion law should be a religious belief, the Ninth Amendment, which said the privacy of a woman should be protected, and finally the 14th Amendment, which said no state should deny a person's life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness without due process. On the other hand, Way argued that it should be a state issued and it should be left to the people to decide their laws. In the end, the jury sided with Roe in the district courts. However, Way took it to the Supreme Court to argue it even more. Black Mom, the court decided to take more of a medical route and said that after the first trimester, it was illegal to have an abortion. This case Roe v. Wade is considered the foundation of all abortion or reproductive arguments that have happened in our U.S. history. However, in more recent years, the states have made their restrictions by taking away reproductive rights and freedoms women have had for years. The controversy. The issue mainly has two sides, pro-life and pro-choice. The main controversy argues on whether or not the fetus should be granted humanity at conception. If so, it says that abortion could be considered murder in some people's eyes. People who argue as pro-life take the side that abortion should be illegal under all circumstances, despite maybe rape, incest, or women's health. However, some radical pro-life advocates do not consider those situations or are against the act altogether. From CNN, Gale and Context revealed that Alabama enacted the strictest abortion law in the country. It would be made that abortion is illegal in virtually all cases, including cases of rape and incest. The new law says that a doctor who performs an abortion could face up to 99 years in prison, punishment similar to penalties for rapists and murderers. People who argue as pro-choice, meaning they take the side of women's right to privacy and choice of their body. They argue that why should women have to explain herself to be granted the decision they want to make for themselves to a stranger. My voice, my choice. Protesters outside the Georgia State Capitol in Atlanta shouted, which we read in CNN, Gale, and Context as well. My personal stance. The word abortion has been made a derogatory term due to actions and words said by religious figures and the U.S. government. In my eyes, abortion is simply a route women may take in their lifetime based on life circumstances, financial issues, health, the form of conception, or whatever the reason it may be to end their pregnancy. As stated earlier, why should a woman have to explain herself to a stranger to get an abortion and see if it is okay? It is a personal choice for their body, so why should they need approval? Today, women are already looked at as second and unequal in society, so placing these laws is hurting the fight even more. Women who stand as pro-life are also not looking out for other women like they should be. Rape is a disgusting act, and incest as well. So why? And it honestly blows my mind that states like Alabama do not take in these considerations. I would like to ask those who make these laws, if you're a woman in women's shoes, or if it was your daughter in that circumstances, would you be as strict with your words? I also believe that women should have access to any form of medical treatment surrounding the reproduction as they want, including birth control and the right to choose abortion. Many women rely on birth control not only to prevent pregnancy, but as well as skin issues and control their period more easily. I am happy that I can be protected and have the reproductive rights that I do because I'm a resident of California. Here are some facts to support my case. Statistically speaking, children of unplanned pregnancy are at greater risk of a lower birth weight, dying before their first birthday, of being abused, and receiving insufficient resources to ensure a healthy development. And birth control can reduce the number of women who revert to abortion, and unintended pregnancy raises insurance companies' money. Here's some food for thought. Why should a woman have to explain or justify reasoning for her body to a group of strangers? Why does rape overshadow health reasons or any other reason women may want an abortion? The opposing viewpoints. Looking at the other side, the church is one of the largest corporates against abortion. The Pope says in a letter to his people regarding abortion that is ultimately an instant conception. There's something that stuck out to me is that it's not faith's fault for how Catholics view abortion, but instead they have a hard time wrapping around the mind that people kill their son or daughter to fix a solution, which is not, or to fix the problem, which is not a solution in their eyes. However, the Pope ended his letter with a story that goes against my stance, but I'm attached to. A 15-year-old girl with Down syndrome was pregnant, and her parents brought it to the courts to get approval for an abortion. When asked to speak to the girl, the judge was denied by the parents because they said that the girl was unable to understand. The judge asked, when he was finally able to talk to her, "Do you know what happened to you?" And she's replied with, "Yes, I'm sick." And he said, "What's your sickness?" And she said, "I have an animal inside me and it's eating my stomach. That's why I have to get an operation." The judge told her that no, you do not have an animal eating your stomach, you have a baby. And the girl responded beautifully, and the baby grew up to be a successful lawyer and continues to call the judge every year to thank him for what he did. Abortion is sometimes not the pregnant woman's choice, but her parents who force it. Pro-life, there's an anti-abortion activists in conservative states are making their way through lower courts, and any other cases could provide a pathway to the Supreme Court to alter federal abortion law, which make it difficult for women to uphold their right. Pro-life argues that a fetus is alive at conception and deserves the right to live. Some states go out of their way to make decisions for abortion, such as limiting the funds that go towards the health care, and these are the states that do that. My rebuttal to these. In response to the opposing side, I will never understand what is inside the legislature's mind, nor will I understand the privileges some states put women through. When all the common methods of birth control are taken away, some women may choose less appropriate methods to forego birth control altogether to avoid paying high out-of-pocket costs, which may lead to unintended pregnancies. And unintended pregnancies have a lot of health problems that follow for both the mother and the fetus. I will also add that if birth control is limited, like stated earlier, abortions would be more wanted or required. Birth control reduces the need for abortion, so why would you want to take it away? Some states not only limit public funds but require abstinence-only education to students within their states. There are many problems with this, such as it does not properly educate the students. Telling teenagers to wait to marriage is extremely unrealistic. Education to properly take care of themselves if they become sexually active is extremely important, because some students are very ignorant to that. And by failing to provide and complete accurate information regarding conception of STD, rates would go up. And a big proponent for these non-abstinent is the National Rights and Abortion League. Going back to the church's point of view, according to the United States Conference of Bishops, UCSB, the statement that said unborn children are the most vulnerable members of society, I would like to ask if they're unborn, how are they effective in our world? The right to life should be given to the pregnant woman for it's their body, and they should choose whether it is the baby should be born or not, because the experience that had conception could be traumatized and they might want to wipe that part of their life away. The USCB, they told their opinion a controversial moral in our society. After reading the claim of abortion, it made me step back. Within the paragraph, the quote from above, they included the fact that our country is placed on the foundations of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and how some lives are not being protected, the unborn. I believe that to be protected by the primary rights of the United States, you have to see the light of day. My hopes for the future. As of right now, access to abortion in the United States is hanging on by a thread and must continue to be fought against. The loss of access to abortion and birth control hopefully should be dismissed. We must continue to fight the Roe v. Wade case. I would like to see more support financially and politically for pro-choice movers. We need to see more pro-choice politicians for anti-abortionists have been working to take over the rights of women for years. I hope in the future women do not have to be ashamed for their decisions they make for their body and express who they are, free of discouragement. I hope in the future abortion is a less negative term like it is right now. I'm so glad that California's abortion legal is an abortion legal state, as well as a state where it's easy to access birth control and allow women to use their reproductive rights freely. Soon, I hope those states who have the strictest abortion and reproductive restrictions are overturned to allow women to express their bodies and opinions freely. Thank you.